Hi guys, this is Aaron Motorphilia, and just a little background of who I am and what I do. I've been in the car business for 20 years. I've bought and sold close to $60 million of inventory. And I know a few things about cars. I've also broken almost anything you can imagine on a car and have had to fix it. But along that, I've also learned a few things about the business that I've helped to relay over to you. And as I think about those things, I like to put these into a video. I usually do it on Facebook on a live video, and I found that one of the problems that I have when I do a live video is just really hard to index anything or go back to source anything. So that's not working really well. Plus, apparently I did something on Facebook, and I don't know what, but I got banned for doing a live video. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'll post a video here on the YouTube. And it's probably a better idea because it's much easier to index things in the future in case there's anything that I need to reference to you or you need to look up. I'll put that here. So if you can think of any things, by the way, in this channel that you have questions about anything car related, I love a challenge and I love to try to help where I can. I've dedicated a good portion of my life to this, and I love talking about cars. I really do. So if you can think of anything about a question about the car business, about anything in the car market, I love market trends. It's something I'm really into. Please ask away. I'd love to give you some more information about that. Also, the history of cars, really in the history of cars. As far as the name Motorphilia, if you want to know where that term comes from, it actually was a big debate back in the early 1900s because cars were coming onto the scene and people were really bothered about how people are getting excited about cars. And you had motorphilias, people who loved cars, and you had motorphobics, people who hated cars. And there was actually a big debate about, should we keep cars in the city, or should we take people away from the city? Should we only have some buggies? We have a lot of problems. And so it was a huge debate. Anyways, the motorphiles were people who love cars. I love cars, so I'm a motorphile. I do believe in safety, and I do believe in regulations, and I also believe in always pushing forward to have a better car that's safer, more reliable, and more fuel efficient, if not go away from fuel altogether. I love transportation, and I love how people can move along and have better lives because of it. Anyways, enough of that intro stuff. My company is a company called Motorphilia, and that's a quick promo. Motorphilia is a car company that is designed to deliver cars to you directly, helping you make smart choices rather than just force cars on you. I hope we're here to help, and if you have any questions about cars, you go to motorphilia.com and you can ask questions or go there, and we'll help you. So, going along, one of the things I want to talk about was the car business. Now, going back about 2007, I actually helped write a bill that actually removed the centralization of car dealerships. We no longer had a brick and mortar formal establishments. You could start doing warehouse sales, internet sales, and that was because of a law that we wrote a while back ago. And in that, we introduced a tidal wave of online sales. One of those things was something called CarGurus came in shortly to play, where they started doing price comparison. And in the state of Texas, we actually put a class action lawsuit against that because there's a big problem, especially in pre-owned cars. No two cars are the same. If you didn't know that, they're not. Some cars are better than others. They are. These aren't like all new cars where they're all the same condition. Pre-owned cars vary greatly in condition, what they may need, what they may not need. You know, a car might look totally perfect but need $5,000-$6,000 of maintenance work. A set of tires can run you anywhere up to $2,000 to $3,000 for specific cars. Sometimes as much as a few $100. It varies from car to car. Brakes can cost different amounts from cars. Valve cover gaskets to oil gaskets, all those things matter. And sometimes a car can have a lot of these issues you don't really see, not in pictures, but they're there. And that's the problem with online listings, is that pictures lie. Anything can look really good in pictures. It really can. You can shoot around stuff. I've seen cars with the whole front ends missing, and they take pictures around it. You know, I've seen where they take it from the side, or they do from the back corner, or they do the interior. You know, and then people come into the dealership like, oh, this isn't what I expected. And you've heard stories like that, and they exist. You can always shoot around damage. In fact, one of our services that we had that we used to do is we actually provided photos, and we did listing information for dealerships in the area. And that was one of the biggest problems and pushbacks we had, is we always believed in providing upfront information with people, and dealerships would be like, oh, why are you telling people that stuff? That's maybe true, but we don't want them to know that until it gets here. That's just not how we work. We want you to know everything up front, and that's how Motorphilia works. So we stopped doing that, and we're doing this now. I've been, again, doing this for 20 years. My business is 13 years, and we're here to help. So the car business has this big thing going on, which is that it's very, very competitive in pricing online. You go online, you can find a price for anything. You can find an incredibly low price. You can find a high price, and you're like, well, why is there a big difference in pricing? A lot of that has to do with reconditioning cost. If a car has been properly reconditioned, it's probably going to be a little bit higher in the price point, and if it hasn't been, it's probably going to be lower in the price point. So a lot of times that stuff's being pushed onto you. So never think that you're getting a really good deal on a car if you're paying too little for it. You kind of want to spend fair market on a car. But that being said, a lot of dealerships, what they'll do is they'll post a car, they won't do proper reconditioning, and they'll sell it at a very low price. And they might actually lose money, but how are they going to make money? And this is the big scam. The big scam in our business is called the back end. The back end is where really most of the dealership money comes in, and it's going to be made in financing, selling useless warranty product, and that is definitely something you look out for. The other thing they're going to do is they're going to try to move it on trade. They're going to say, hey, they're going to take money off the trade itself, maybe and sell it at auction or somewhere else, but they're going to sell it and they're going to make money on the back end. So they might sell the car at a loss in the front, but they might make $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on the back end. So be very careful about finance rates, because your credit unions can usually do better than dealerships are going to offer you for rates. As far as warranties go, in general, it's a good rule. Don't buy cars that need extended warranties. If they need extended warranty and they're an unreliable car, it's better off just not buying it. If it's an unreliable car and you really want it, go buy the newer version of it. Buy the new one. Like lease a new BMW or lease a new Mercedes. You're going to find that sometimes the payment for leasing is about the same as the payment was to finance. Not that Mercedes and BMW are necessarily bad, but if you're really worried about the reliability, the best way to do is to lease that car. That is a good idea. Anyways, so extended warranties, a lot of times they don't actually measure up to anything. They won't cover things that are considered wear and tear items, like shocks, struts, suspension components. Those are things that will wear and fail more frequently on cars, and you're going to find those are going to be stronger repair things that you'll need to repair before you have to like fix a navigation screen, or and an air conditioner is relatively inexpensive to fix on a car. Air compressors are generally inexpensive if you shop around, and usually you're going to spend about $800 for most cars, even like a Mercedes, to fix an air conditioner. So don't be too worried about spending. Don't spend like $3,000 or $4,000 for a extended warranty if it's going to be like a $4 or $5 repair that you might have to do one day. That's not really worth doing, is it? The math doesn't make sense. I mean, here's the real thing about extended warranties. If they were a good deal, the extended warranty company would be out of business. Think about that. So, my wife is a good example of having one of these scams pulled on her by a dealership that was actually part of us, because we were once owned by a General Motors franchise, and we had us for about a couple of years. And my wife was buying a Mazda 3 wagon that we found. It was a good deal, and I sent her over to the office, said, "Yeah, they'll take care of you." I went off to help my son, because at the exact moment he peed himself. He was only 3 years old, and he was like, "Oh!" And I went to go help him, and my wife was in the office with the finance director of our dealership, and I was managing several of these dealerships at this time, and I thought nothing about it. I saw the number of what we owned it for. It was only making $100 profit, and I was like, well, that's beyond fair, and it was a good price, and so I get the balance sheet a few weeks later, and I see that we made $4,000 on this deal. And I was like, well, how did we do that? I didn't think much about it. I was like, well, maybe the numbers were in wrong. I mean, the price was fair, but $4,000 is a lot more than I was expecting for us to make on this thing. I was expecting for us to make $100. What happened? So a year later, we go to pay off my wife's car, and the payoff should have been about $9,000 a year later. We were financing what I thought was $10,800, something like that, about $11,000, and the payment was $240, $250, something like that. And we were doing it on a 4-year note. That's about what it should have been. And then we went ahead. We were about to pay this thing off. I go to get the payoff. The payoff is $15,000. And then I go to find that what they did was they added 3 years to her contract, and they put on a bunch of back-end products. And they did the thing to me that I tell people to look out for, is they focused her so much on payment. They packed all this stuff in. And her trusting nature, she never asked any questions about it. And I didn't think much about it either until after the fact. And at that point, we already bought ourselves back out. We already left that dealership. We were back to being independent again. And I was like, man, God, they screwed us over. They got us good. And that happens. So be careful. A lot of times these cars that are being sold as loss leaders aren't. So I hope that helps. always be careful. Look at your contracts whenever you're signing at the dealership. One of the things with Motorphilia, we're very upfront. We don't do back-end profit. We're not going to sell useless warranties to you. We are very transparent with how we price things. You never overpay, and you always pay market price. We try to prevent that from being part of our industry. We try to prevent. We want to make sure that our clients never have that as an issue. So if you would like to know about Motorphilia, please go to motorphilia.com, and you can go there and you can take a matchmaker and find what car fits best for you. I hope this helps. If you have any other questions, feel free to like and subscribe, of course, here, and ask a question in the comments below. And I hope that helps. Bye, guys.